Okay. So, so Salman, what inspired you to become a filmmaker? Why you choose filmmaking? Was there any film which you watched and got inspired by, or there were any books during your childhood?
Um, well, actually, I didn't watch a lot of movies while growing up. Um, so there is a radio behind my inspiration, which I bought when I was in 8th standard because I wasn't allowed to use internet or watch movies and consume content like we do now. So I wasn't allowed to do that as a child. But I secretly bought a radio when I was in 8th standard of my own. There was a television at home, but adults were watching it like their own drama serials, their own news, which I wasn't interested in. So I wanted to entertain myself in my own way, and I had no idea what to do. So I just bought a radio. And when I was listening to different RJs, people talking to me, and other audiences, it felt really nice. I could switch the channels, I could listen the music that I want to listen. So that was a very interesting relation that I developed with radio. And at that time, as a kid, I wanted to be an RJ. That I will also interact with people, talk with audience like this, because that made me feel so good as a kid because there was no other entertainment for me. I was like a topper of school. I didn't do anything else whole my childhood other than studies. So that small radio that runs on the batteries, that became my friend or inspiration. But later on, like when I joined university for the media studies, my intentions were same to become a radio jockey. But then I realized that people are not listening radio that much now. So which made me very sad that what I'll do now. So then eventually I started taking interest in films, documentaries, and theater. So and photography as well. So I started doing all of that. I did photography, I did theater, and I also did documentary making when I was graduating. So all of that came together, and then I realized that okay, above all of this, I think I enjoy um, visual storytelling more than anything else. So I love theater as well, but I did that for 2 3 years and then I moved on. So I think that's the reason why I end up being a storyteller, a visual storyteller, or a filmmaker, you can say. There was no film behind that inspiration as a kid, but eventually, then I watched a lot of movies, and yeah, that became my inspiration.
Okay. So after doing media, did you also went to film school?
Actually, I graduated in 2017. I already started working when I was a student. I worked for like 3 4 years, and I had no plan to go to film school. But when I made my first short, Naked Beliefs, and I learned a lot while showing that film in the festivals. I would say that because then people were asking me questions which I even didn't think about. Because as an indie filmmaker, as a self learner, there is no coursework. You work and you learn. So and then my second short, No Beloved, when I made that, that was narrative. Uh, After making that film, again when I was taking it to different festivals, that actually um, convinced me that I think it will be good if you go and study maybe. So right now I'm doing masters at New York Film Academy. So it took me long time to figure out if I want to go to a film school or not. I think I still enjoy the process in the field, working with seniors, working with other filmmakers, and interacting with them. I think that's the best learning. Uh, I am in a film school right now, but I think it's not my thing actually. I don't enjoy the way you are being taught inside a school. For other people, maybe it's really good, it's amazing, but for me, it's not. Uh, I still prefer learning in the field, working with other people.
Okay, great, great. So first of all, what was your parents' reaction when you said you want to become a filmmaker? Have the seniors?
Out.
Okay.
So I I would say there was like a World War III going on in my house. My parents, they never wanted me to do something like that. Um, they still don't know what do I do. Uh, they wanted me to be an engineer. It's like they had a big picture with a frame, and the what was inside the picture, me as an engineer. So they put it in one of the walls in the house. That's what they were visualizing throughout my childhood when I was growing up. But when I was in college, high school, I told them that I think I can't be that person that you're visualizing. So I sort of shattered that photograph, and after that there was a youth, like a war. So it took me a long time to convince them that I want to be a filmmaker. Uh, Not filmmaker at that time. I was just trying to tell them because my plan was to be a radio jockey. Uh, I didn't tell them because that was even for them, like according to them, it was even worst. Like who listens radio now? So I was trying to tell them I'll go in media. Like I'll try to figure out what to do, but I cannot do a 9 to 5 job because I've seen my brother and other people working as engineer or like similar kind of jobs, 9 to 5 jobs, and I was not um, very much inspired by that. So I think I would say I'm very lucky that I realized at the very early age that I cannot be an engineer or I don't want to go to army or become doctor. Otherwise, a lot of people they go through the whole process and then they realize that I don't want to be that, and then they change their profession, which is even fine. But I think if I would have done that, it would have been even a more longer journey for me.
Maybe because you were topper in the class, that's why they were thinking you will become an engineer.
Oh, oh yeah. Actually, you know what? My sisters, they told me, you know what? My XYZ friend, her brother who couldn't pass the exams or who couldn't graduate from high school, they chose to be in media studies. Like, what are you even talking? So it was like that. And then my teachers were like, "Are you okay? Is everything fine? What happened?" Because I was actually a topper, and like when I told some of my teachers, they were even shocked. Like, "Beta, what are you doing? You will be wasting your life or yeah, something like that." But only one teacher, I would say, I love him. I generally don't like teachers um, because of my experience. Even both of my sisters are teachers. I don't like them as a teacher. I mean, they are very strict. Like, what's the point? Don't make it a big deal. They like try to, make things very tough for you. Um, the way teaching is that it has to be like this way. If not, then like they're not happy. Most of them. So yeah, one of my teachers, when I told him that I want to go to media study. I want to do media studies, and I'll figure out later on what I want to do. Right now, I am just telling you that I want to be an RJ, but I don't see there's any future in that. And he said, okay, fine. Then we had a very long conversation, and then he said, okay, seems like you want to do something on your own, like you want to create something. So I think it's if that's your calling, you must go for it. And then I had to ask him, like, is there a career in that? Is there are there opportunities or what's the scope? And he said that you make the scope. There will always be opportunities, there will always be a scope or um, like a career in any field. It depends how will you gonna take it and how will you gonna plan for your own self. And that thing actually convinced me that okay, if it's on me, then I will do it. But I couldn't make it easier to understand for my parents. That was really a tough. At that time, I was also watching Three Idiots and movies like that for my inspiration. I really wanted to make my parents sit and watch it, but that also didn't happen because they don't watch movies. They're old, um, so yeah, they usually don't consume cinema or films.
Have they seen your film?
No, I actually, uh, um, because the thing is, my relation with my family was very toxic. Uh, so I'm very scared. I'm not comfortable sharing my work with them. I'm waiting for that time to come when I'm comfortable enough to show them my work. But right now, it's been few years that I haven't tell them about my projects. I just tell them generally that, oh, I'm making a film, my film got selected there, I'm working on this project, that project, something like that. So they ask me, what are you making? What do you do? Show us. And I tell them, like, give me some time, not now.
That time will come and they will definitely like it. So, how did you make your first film? Like, first document, it was a documentary shot, Night It Believes. So, how the idea came and what was your experience while making it?
So, Knitted Beliefs was my first documentary. That was actually a very, very interesting, uh, adventurous kind of experience. I was actually traveling. I initially worked with a lot of foreigners. They used to come to when they used to come to Pakistan to make a documentary or do a travel show or document some destinations or architecture stuff like that. I was traveling with them, um, and I was working with them at that time. So I was doing a project with a writer filmmaker from Singapore, Amardeep Singh. So he was at that time 2017. He was making a book, a photography book, in which I traveled with him, and then I was documenting his journey. In that journey, I traveled with him throughout Pakistan, documenting the Sikh temples in Pakistan, and also um, I was also getting some experience of other minorities as well. I was lucky to see the culture because otherwise Pakistan is 96% Muslims. We don't usually get chance to see minorities living their life to the fullest. We meet Hindus, we meet Sikhs, Christians, but it's rare that you see them celebrating their events. Uh, so in that journey, in that project, when we reached Karachi, um, we went to this neighborhood Narayanpura. It's a huge minorities compound where Hindus, Christians, Sikhs they all live together, and that's very interesting, very interesting place to experience as a Muslim Pakistani, because I first thought that this is fake. That's not real. There's a set, a film set, maybe, or something like that, because I had never seen a place like that in Pakistan, and I would say that this is just one place in whole Pakistan. There is no other place like that. Um, like, just to give you the context of the sensitivities of uh, different faiths, and like there are conflicts as well between sects and between different religions in Pakistan. It's a very sensitive thing. So that's why different minorities, they don't expose themselves um, in their events. So when I went there, I saw that all these people are living together. For the first time, I was actually physically going into a Hindu temple, um, in a church, and in a gurdwara. That whole experience was um, very inspiring for me, and it took me 1 year. I went to that place 3 times. I first did a photography project on that community, and then I went back again to make a film. And there were two friends with me who I forced them to go with me, because there was no planning. I just had this plan of going and interviewing them, and then shoot a lot of B-roll. Then I'll come back and make a film. Because before that, I was working as a cinematographer, and that's how we used to work. Like, we used to go and interview people, and then we used to shoot a lot of B-rolls around that subject or story. But because I was not a director, so I didn't know what's my final outcome is. I just wanted to show people living their life um, happily with each other. So that was my goal. Otherwise, it was all self-learning, interviewing people, filming them. The whole process was very, I would say, um, self-exploratory in my own skills as well. Uh, so yeah, that's how it happened, and I spent 1 month there in Karachi. So I live in Lahore. I took a train, economy class, and I was living in a very cheap hotel there. And then I took my friends with me as well, that please come. I can't do this alone. So Fahad and Shabazz, they came and they helped me. So that's how I made this film. I was flying drone by myself. I was recording audio, interviewing them, giving directions, all of them. So it was so that's how I made the film. And the thing which I was mentioning, that when I took the film to different festivals and during Q&A sessions, people were asking me very interesting questions. And I thought, I wish I knew that before, because um, like, I didn't know that that's how you plan things. Because as a first time filmmaker, you always uh, learn by doing things, until unless you have gone to a film school. So yeah, and then another thing I would like to mention why I made that film, because I grew up in a very conservative uh, family, and I mostly interacted with fellow Muslims. So when I visited that place, it actually, uh, just by being in that place and by looking at people and the houses, was a big learning for me, that we can coexist without killing each other. Because otherwise, I grew up watching news that, oh, the church was burned, the temple was damaged, someone attacked the mosque, like all these kind of um, conflicted news about killing each other and pressurizing or like giving each other tough time just based on what do people believe. Uh, I thought that's very normal. That's how it is as a kid. That if someone is non-Muslim, they are not, I mean, we are the best. That's what I used to think. But when I went to this place, I saw all of them living together, and then I realized, then I found out that the history goes back even before the partition, that they have been living together like this for more than hundreds of years. And there was no conflict, no riots, no killing based on faith or their religion. So that itself was a huge learning. I think no book, no person could teach me in a very short time, which I learned by just being there at my first visit. So that was the main inspiration that I want to show this to other people as well. And when I showed it, people were like, "Oh, did you went to India?" Because when I was doing photography exhibitions of the same place, by just watching, looking at the pictures, they used to ask me like, "Oh, when did you go to India to capture these photos?" Then I have explained them, and they were shocked. Wow, is this place in Pakistan? And then I was like, "Yes, it's in Pakistan. You can go and visit anytime." So, and same thing was with the film as well. When I showed film to people, they loved it. I had small intimate screenings as well. Then I had also big festival screenings as well. So all together, it was a good experience for me during making the film as well, and then after also.
No, it's such a great thing. Like while making the film, like there are few moments you can say you have become a great person or you have become more empathetic, and that while making it, like you feel that that's so great, and that's what we aspire. Now let's talk about No Beloved, which is a short film, really great short film, and the producer is same who has produced Joyland as well.
Yes, Sana Jafri. Um, Sana Jafri, she will listen to this podcast. She will be happy. So actually, Sana says that I made her producer, which I don't believe. I tell her that you were a born producer. Um, so No Beloved was actually a film that is also a very personal story. Um, it's about identity. Most of my work revolves around identity and exploring your own self. Uh, so I applied for a fellowship in Lahore, I think in 2019. That was funded by Netherlands Embassy. So uh, when I got selected, I first of all I had no expectation that I will get selected for a narrative fellowship, narrative film fellowship, because I had no previous experience. But when I got selected, I was so happy, and I got the mentor Salman Kusar. He's one of the amazing film directors of Pakistan, and I really wanted to work with him, and I end up being his mentee. He was like my mentor who helped me to develop the whole project. So initially it was very intimidating for me, but then I started enjoying the process. I took very long time in writing that film because we were going back and forth a lot. Uh, yeah, and then Sana, she produced it. So that film actually, if you like, you have seen it. So the whole thing is like we are someone else as a person, but we have to act as someone else in front of society. Most of the time, I've seen my elders, cousins, people around that they have different passions in their life. Their identity is different. They want to be someone else, but they end up being in a situation where family sometimes doesn't allow them to be that person, or the society, or the cultural pressures. And they end up spending their whole life being stuck. That's very painful. So that film is about basically your identity, that you have to stand for yourself and be who you want to be. Um, I mean, if you have seen it, you'll notice that the person is married as well, and he has kids. So that is a responsibility on our end as well as an individual. That if we are not happy with something, then why are we going that way? Why don't we stop and think that this is not who I am? If I don't want to get married, if I don't want to be in a certain career, then it as an individual, it's your responsibility as well. So I try to show both sides, the societal or cultural conditionings or expectations for him, and then he himself as well, how he's taking that. So yeah.
Okay, okay. No, it comes out very beautifully. And how much time it took to like complete it? If we can go like writing, shooting, editing, everything.
So I think we got time for 6 months to do the whole thing, but then because of COVID, uh, it went longer, and I think we took almost a year during the fellowship. But the film itself, I would say I took 4 to 5 months just to write that, and then within 2 months, I would say we did the filming and the editing. That we shot for 2 days, and yeah, editing almost took 2 months. So because of COVID, the process got very slow down.
Okay, okay. No problem, no problem. Talking about the identity, like there's another film called Joyland which talks about identity.
Oh yes, yes.
And
Joyland is a
you were
yeah,
supposed to work in that film.
yeah. Actually, at that time, I remember Sana reached out to me to say that we have some crew positions open, and I really want you to come and work with us. I was working on some other project at that time, and unfortunately, I couldn't be part of it. So yeah, and yeah, I would like to say Joyland is one of the most beautiful films I would say that came out of Pakistan. I love that. I really love that film.
Same, like I've spoken to like 60 or 70 filmmakers, and when I asked them about their favorite film, like all of them said, mostly all of them said like Joyland is always there. Like it's such a brilliant film.
Oh yes. You know what? I'm from Lahore, and the film is also based in Lahore. So I would like to give credit to the whole team, and especially Saib. The way he has wrote down those things, those situations in the film and the characters, it's so real, that you enjoy that so much. It's very real. It's not like, oh, they made up this thing. I don't believe that. It's not like that. So uh, within that parameters of being as real as you can, he created such a beautiful film. The writing itself, and then the cinematography, uh, everything, the music. Uh, yeah, I would say it's almost a perfect film that came out of Pakistan. I've seen that film 5 times with different people in different countries. in different screenings, and every time it makes me very emotional.
True, 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 true. And then you were in, like, while doing No Beloved, you were in Lahore.
Yes,
So when
I'm a
did you?
Lahori, so most of my time is spent in Lahore.
So when did you went to like USA?
So USA, I actually worked on a documentary with after doing my documentary Knitted Beliefs. I got a project from Sikh community in USA. When I came to US for the first time in 2018 to showcase my film, I got a project on the travels of Guru Nanak, and we made a documentary series on that. I shot that film, and we traveled to 9 countries. I couldn't come to India. Other than that, I traveled to all those countries. So after doing that project, I was offered a scholarship uh, from the community. They said that we can help you if you're interested and if you want to study further. So we can help you in some way. Uh, so um, that's when it started. I think in 2021. Yeah. And then I applied for it. And then I came to US in January 2023.
Okay, great. You came there like to study filmmaking, like you said
Yeah,
you did.
I'm doing masters right now in filmmaking, and this program is from New York Film Academy, and I'm learning right now writing, directing, cinematography, like everything. And then I'll see which one I will pick. I usually can't work in one domain, so I work as a cinematographer as well. I produce some projects as well, and then I like directing and writing as well. I recently started doing editing, which sometimes I enjoy a lot, but sometimes it's a very nerdy job. So uh, yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going through everything in the school.
Like you said, you have seen teachers which used to be like strict. Then you made a documentary called Never Outreach. There's a teacher who is most friendly person. So how the
Uh,
ad came and what was your experience there?
you know what? Never out of reach. Oh, um, I want to mention Manur Zedi. She's a good friend of mine. She's also a producer, AD, filmmaker, director from Pakistan. We worked together on that project, and Out Beyond is a Never Out of Reach is a very um, it's very close to my heart. You know what? When we finished the project, when we finished the shoot, right after 1 week, uh, the principal that we spent 6 months with, he died of COVID, and that was very heartbreaking for all of us. And his wife said that he was just waiting for you guys to finish this project so that he can go. Uh, so yeah, for uh, for the teacher or the principal in that film. So just to give you a context, that film we did for CNA Channel News Asia. So that was one of the episodes of a series called Never Out of Reach. So they actually filmed different schools in Asia run by individuals or organizations in a very remote or um, unaccessible locations. So the Pakistan episode talks about the school in Naltar. It's up in the mountains. Uh, it's a very remote area, and this school is run by a couple who actually uh, are in their 70s, I would say. they are old, but they like work like uh young people with a lot of energy. So, and they are giving free education to I think more than 300 kids. So I would say your question as a teacher thing that he's not a teacher, he's a mentor. So there is a difference between a teacher and a mentor. If someone is trying to be a teacher and trying to teach you something, I think it doesn't work well. But a teacher should actually be a mentor where he actually create a safe space around you and within that space let you do the mistakes and then help you in achieving the peak of your capabilities to make you a skillful person or some whoever you want to be. They should give you the margin to experiment, to fail. Teachers don't like when you fail. So I think that is another problem. I never failed as a student, so right, even now I struggle a lot uh, while writing because there is a conditioning that, oh, I don't want to write a bad script or something which doesn't work, uh, which is a big hurdle for me as an artist uh, because there is this constant pressure that don't go wrong. So that pressure came from my childhood. I wish I could have spent more time in doing experiments and failing in things. That's how you learn more. So, going back to the film, Never Out of Reach, I saw Zahid Saab, the principal, giving students a lot of time and space. He was helping them, um, like if someone is good in um, archery, he brought the equipment for that particular kid so that you can learn that. If someone is good in cricket or hockey, he brought equipment for those kids so that they can learn and become good in that. Same is the case with roller skating or skiing. He was training his kids so that they can learn skiing outside the school that was not part of syllabus or curriculum or anything. So he was like training them so that they can achieve that excellence, not just through studies, but also through anything they are good at, which teachers generally don't do. So I hope I answer the question.
100% agree. I agree absolutely. And really great documentary. And let's talk about Out Beyond, which is your recent short film.
Yes.
So please do talk about the Out Beyond.
Out Beyond is also it's a another very personal story. It talks about my personal connection with bathroom as a safe space. So when we are living with joint families, in Pakistan and India, we most of the people they live with families. So you don't have your own safe space, safe or private space. I was sharing room with my siblings. I think until I was 21. So till then, I was sharing a room. So I never had my own private space in the house. Other than the physical space itself, I think bathroom always served as a purpose of my own cave or my own safe space where I knew that okay, if I'm here, no one is watching me. I can be who I am. I used to spend a lot of time inside bathroom as a kid. I used to read sometimes. I used to listen radio inside bathroom because you need to listen radio by like this, or maybe by putting hands free with that, and at that time it was wired. So if somebody sees that, it means, oh, you're not, go do your homework, don't waste your time on this. So I used to enjoy radio inside bathroom. So that came up. So I had this kind of connection with bathroom whenever I was stressed, whenever I was happy, whenever I was like going through something. I used to go to bathroom and r- relax there. That was my relation with bathroom. And later on, I read a short story of Manto. It's called Ghusl Khana. Ghusl Khana means bathroom. Where it's a satire uh, on the same thing. A young boy who is living in a similar kind of household, and how he is utilizing that space. He talks about his relation with bathroom. So that's really funny short story, and it clicked me, and I was like, oh, that's my story actually. So after so many years, that short story actually inspired me to do something with bathroom. Initially, I wanted to do a photo series of like a photo project inside bathroom, documenting different people in their own bathrooms, and then talk about the relationship of uh, people with bathroom as a safe space. But then I was like, maybe not. Then, like, I was going through all of this. Uh, then I applied for another grant. It was based around mental health, based in San Francisco in US. So I linked the bathroom, the idea of bathroom, with mental health. That how sometimes we can't afford therapy, so bathroom sometimes is a therapy for us. And then I remember when I wrote the proposal, I wrote this line that bathrooms have seen most raw and unfiltered versions of human beings than anyone else ever. So uh, that that line actually was the, you can say, core of that film. And my friends who helped me, Nida and Tahir, in writing the project, the script, and then Sana came back to produce. So then I actually started writing the story. I wanted to write something which is not possible doing inside a bathroom, something huge, something big in idea, but doing it in a small space. I don't want to give the spoiler here, but that was the intention. So going back and forth, we actually wrote many scripts. I would say like we wrote four different scripts, and then this one was finalized. And then I recruited, I hired a drummer, and that's how we worked. I actually didn't want to teach an actor how to play drums, so I actually casted a drummer actually, and then me and Sana, we did a lot of acting workshops with him, and then that's how it worked. So yeah, and it came out very well. I really love that film. I think I like No Beloved as well. I love that film, but maybe I think you like your recent work more. I don't know. Uh, yeah, so that was the process, and The film is going to festivals right now, and it went to some of the festivals in India as well.
Diff,
And
Dharamshala.
yes, yes,
Great, 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 great. Currently, is it screening?
yes, yes. I just came back from Dallas. It was showing at Dallas International Film Festival, and there were two screenings, and then Q&A sessions. So it was great. Uh, People enjoy that. I enjoy when they ask those questions and they interact back after watching that film. It's a very simple, short, like 5 minute film, but I I really like the way people start asking questions after watching that film because it doesn't talk about just the process of filmmaking, but it also talks about a whole cultural thing. And not just the cultural part, but the mental health part. Again, coming back to your identity part. So in that way, it is a very cultural story as well, but at the same time, very universal as well. People can easily relate, and they start telling about their relationship with bathroom. So I really want to make a bigger version of this film. I'm doing research right now, and I'm planning to make a feature inside a bathroom. So let's see.
Great. Like how you were saying about the relationship between space and joint family. Like in my mind, I was thinking about my family and my space. Like I lived in joint family as well. I share my room with my sister. So that's like really great. So currently, no, please.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say the same thing that dynamics totally change when you live with family and when you live by yourself, and also when you live with those people who support you actually for the person who you are, and what if they don't support you? So I also try to talk about the relationship with family as well in that film. That it's not necessarily the safest place. Home cannot be the safe place always, right? If you end up being in a toxic family, then you are constantly fighting with that, and it becomes they they judge you in your home, not the outside world. They go against you sometimes. They do if they don't accept you for whoever you are. I think then this rejection or this judgment that is constantly there, it becomes part of your identity, and you end up struggling with that throughout your life. So not just the physical space, but also the space where we share relations with each other. Do we accept each other or not? Do we let each other be or not? So um, usually, like we are fighting with the world outside, but when we come back home, then we feel safe generally. But what if you have to fight outside and inside both? Then you end up being in a very painful situation, and that pain is not tangible. You can't see it. It's a pain that goes from generation to generation. And I think most of the people in our culture, they struggle with their identities. Most of them, they end up being like each other. That's safe. That picking up a career which is more safe than getting married. Do you want to get married or not? That's not even a question. They just get married, they have kids, and then they repeat the same thing with their kids. And if somebody doesn't want to be like that or doesn't want to follow that path, then it gets very difficult for them. That's actually, I don't want to say that because my experience was like this, so everyone is like that, but I have noticed this pattern in most of the households in middle class families, and that makes the majority of the society. What do you think?
Absolutely true. That's absolutely true. Like in my house is the same story.
I mean, it's interesting. I'm actually in US right now, and I'm noticing that how individuality is so important for you as a person, that like our families or our culture doesn't even give a shit about it. Like you're like चाहते क्या हो तुम? Like they get mad if you want to do something different. It's difficult for them to accept. Um, it comes from maybe because we are very like emotionally attached with whatever we love. Uh, I think that's why it gets very difficult for them to accept and to let go. It could be one of the reasons. I don't know. I mean, because most of the people say that they are doing it out of love. Like whenever I tell my friends or people that, oh, you know what, I had a very toxic relation with my family, my parents. I struggled a lot. And whenever I try to say stuff like that, they come up with this reasoning that, oh, it's fine. They are doing it out of love. They actually love you and care for you. But I think it's I don't know. It's very tricky. If you love someone, then let them be who they want to be. You don't control them, or you don't um, suppress them.
Yeah, yeah, true, true. That's true. Absolutely, absolutely. But it's really tricky, because in their mind they're thinking they're doing the right thing. So
Yeah,
everybody
exactly.
thinks they're doing the right thing. So I'm doing the right thing for you. So
Yeah,
that's it.
I think also as a society, it's difficult for us to accept different opinions easily. Like we are so opinionated that if someone thinks in a different way, like for example, if someone is atheist, it's difficult for the person to tell the society openly. Or if someone is a gay or a queer person, it's difficult for them to go out and talk like a normal person, tell them about their beliefs or their identity normally. It's difficult as compared to US or maybe Europe side. So that's the difference I have noticed. I here after moving to US, I feel like it's a very open society. There are issues for sure. I won't say that US is perfect. They have their own kind of problems and issues, but in this particular thing, you do whatever the fuck you wanna do. Like nobody gives a shit. Like it's so open. You feel um liberty. You feel that okay, like no one is asking or questioning about my identity or my belief or my faith. So I think yeah, if we could do that also, that would be great, but it's difficult.
Oh, in India, it's really difficult. Like, I don't think in India it will happen like really soon.
Have you seen the movie Titli?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I love that film, the way it is shot. It's so bad, not bad in a way it's made, but they have shown the issues of family, a toxic family, and then the patriarchy right on your face. I've shown that film to different friends, and they most of them couldn't watch it. They stopped halfway that we can't end this. It's too much. And some of them they were like, what is this film? And I I then we discussed that, oh, this is actually such a beautiful film that it actually makes you so uncomfortable, um, that like, so just think of like the actual life itself. It is driven from a true life, right? A true family, or it's not just made up thing. Things happen like that. There are toxic families. So yeah, I was mentioning it because I really like that film. I also want to make similar kind of stories where I can show people that it's that much painful. If you can't see it, just think how difficult it is to live the whole life like that.
Okay, okay. I mean, the director Kanubel, he has also directed a new film called Agra, so which talks about like the space,
Oh,
uh,
nice.
a
What's
house,
the
Agra.
Agra?
Yeah, it's really.
Nice.
I think it won't be released in India. Like it's a little bit visual. Visually, it's really,
Oh,
yeah. But last month or this week, it was released in France.
oh, nice.
Yeah,
Agra.
yeah. So it talks about a house where two family lives. A husband has a wife and a girl.
Mm,
So it's like that about space, about
mm.
sexuality. This, yes,
This,
this one.
okay.
Same
I'll
director.
check it out. Thank you for
Same.
letting me know. I would
No,
like to watch it.
sure, sure, sure. No problem. No problem. So I once spoke to the production designer of Titli.
Oh,
just,
nice.
just like that.
Nice,
So,
nice. How was it?
oh, great. She is a great production designer. Like she has worked in
Nice.
this film as well.
Nice. Of course, she's a great production designer.
They have built
The
the
film
house.
is so raw.
Yeah, they have
Oh
built the
wow.
house.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I thought it's in an actual location. Wow. So, like, as a filmmaker, I prefer to shoot on actual locations because I think that those locations have more characters. Like, if you want to shoot in a house or in a bathroom or any place, I prefer scouting it and then going to shoot there in its. Yeah, of course, you can always do the production design, but creating a whole set, it doesn't. I actually don't prefer that. But if you are saying that they build the whole set, I would say that's amazing because it doesn't feel like it's a set. It feels like an actual location.
I mean, this house is also they have made, and maybe I'm confusing between this house or that house, that house.
Oh,
Uh,
okay, okay.
maybe, but
I'll check it out.
sure, sure, sure. So, are you currently working on any future projects?
Currently, I'm writing a film, a short film as my final project, which I'll be going to shoot in August or September, and it will be out by the end of this year, hopefully. And other than that, I'm working on uh, two, three different ideas of feature in Pakistan. So um, I'm not sure. One of them is in the bathroom. So the other one is inspired from Titli, but I don't know how it will come out. I'm at the idea stage right now. So let's see where it goes. I haven't started writing yet. And yeah, the current short film that is actually it's a South Asian story based in LA. It talks about generation gap again, coming back to the identity part. An old uncle who actually hires a young student just to spend time with him because he's lonely. they became very good friends, and then eventually, when they actually get to know each other about each other's value system and all, then there's a clash between them, just like our generations are apart, like the younger ones and then the older ones. Uh, so I'm actually going back ways that they are actually friends. It's been a while that they are spending time with each other, and after a couple of months, then there comes a clash. So I'm trying to develop this thing that if we accept each other, no matter what our belief system is, we can coexist. So that is my next shot. I've already written it. So I'm going through a lot of rewriting right now. So let's see.
We know that you love Joyland. We know that you love Titli. So, any other recommendations you want to give?
Okay. Uh, I recently watched. I would say Joker is my all-time favorite film, Joaquin Phoenix. Um, and I'm very excited and nervous at the same time that Joker 2 is coming. And I, I I hope, because usually when part 2 comes or the sequel comes, it's not that good as the first one, so that's why I'm nervous, but I have faith in that director and the actor as well. Um, and then Interstellar is my all-time favorite film as well. It's very profound, lovely film. And then I recently watched A Portrait of a Lady on Fire. That is also a lovely film. And from the recent films, I would say I really enjoyed Oppenheimer. It's um, a lovely cinematic experience. Um, and I watched Poor Things as well. That's such an absurd film, but at the same time, it makes so much sense. I love that film. And Zone of Interest. That's a huge experiment as a film, I would say. But I would say before going to watch it, you need to have some context um, of the Holocaust, because I actually had to watch it twice to make sense out of things, because I didn't know a lot of things what's going on in that, because it's very experimental. So I came back, I had to read about the actual events around on which that film is based around. So then I went back to watch it and I really enjoyed it. And what else? Poor Things, I mentioned Past Lives. It's a Korean American film, a drama, a beautiful story, and yeah, I mean, there's a long list. I would keep going on. Um, yeah, for now, I think these movies I watched. I also watched Three of Us recently. It's an Indian film, a very, very beautifully written story, and I really enjoyed the way writer took his time to develop a story around a character and actually gave it time, because usually directors, they rush things, they don't give enough time to the stories and the characters. And I think you give time to characters, because when you have written a character, it's a life itself and you can't decide for them. Like, of course it's you as a director or writer who are deciding, but you have to think from their perspective as well. I think most of the time what happens is they decide the events. Okay, now this will happen, and then they will face this, and then there will be a conflict, and so, and then the characters you have written, they are going through that journey because you are deciding. I think you also have to think from their perspective as well as characters, that okay, if I have written a character who is from, who has a background like this, who is suffering from that disease, so definitely it means the character has its own struggles, its own flaws, so it has to act in a certain way. You can't just make them act like what you want just to complete the acts of the act structure of the story. So yeah, three of us is amazing film, very warm film, I would say. You want more?
Sure. Actually, I want to tell like three of us, like the director, Avinash Arun. I'm thinking I'm pronouncing it right, or I'm saying the name correct. He used to be a cinematographer. Like, have you seen Masan?
Oh,
Yeah, he's the cinematographer of Masan, actually.
I love that film. I love that film. Masan, yeah, it's another amazing film, very close to my heart, and that is one of those films that I like. Titli is one of them. Titli, Joker, and Masan, I would say. I want to make these kind of films. So it's good to know that the director of three of us was the cinematographer of Masan. Nice.
Like because you also do cinematography. That's saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So my last question is, if somebody wants to become a filmmaker, like what advice would you give to them?
I would say don't listen to any advices. Just get into the process and do it. And there is nothing right or wrong in film. And it's okay to, that advice is for my own self as well. Because like when I moved to US, it feels like I'm starting from scratch because everything is different here. And yeah, I'm going through the same thing, that oh, I don't want to uh, make a shitty film, a bad film. So yeah, I would say that just do it. Like getting into the process is itself everything. If you're in the process and you keep doing things, you learn, you create, and then you connect, you relearn. You do like you just don't stop doing it, because like when you are making a film, you will learn things from the developing perspective. And once the film is done, show it to people. You don't have to do the big screenings, or you don't even, if you don't want to upload on YouTube or anywhere on the internet, that's fine. But show it to some people, maybe your family, your friends, or maybe any film festival. So when you will be showing that film, while showing that, observe and notice the reactions of people and tell them to ask me questions. What do you think about this story? So when they will be asking you those questions, that whole process itself is like it. Then you will be learning about uh, the developing part again from audience perspective. So I think in all the stages, pre-production, production itself, and then post-production, and after that when you are distributing film or showing it to people, in all the stages you are creating something constantly, and people are involved in that, and they ask you questions, like for example sound designer, for example editor, production design, everyone, they need to know from you that what do you want, how do you want. So when you are answering them, you are also thinking, okay, because like I want this kind of set. Why do I want this kind of set for this particular character, right? So while answering those people during the process of production, you are still learning. And even if you don't learn during the creation, during creating that project, I will say when you will be showing it to people, then it will cycle back, and then you will be seeing your own project as a viewer. So this whole cycle, I think just being in that teaches you a lot of things as a uh, like in independent filmmaker, I would say. But then there are other ways of learning as well. You can get into a film school if you want. You can enroll yourself in an online course. You can watch YouTube videos. You can um, get into a workshop. So there are so many ways. Um, but if you don't want to go through that process, if you just want to do it by yourself, I think this process itself teaches you a lot. Yeah. So, I mean, I said I won't give any advice, but that's the one of the advices that I'm also going through the same thing, and I think it helps me. I would share with you that when I was doing things and learning them, it had more fun rather than getting into a school and then learning it. It's just personal choice. Some people enjoy, they are more comfortable when someone is telling them stepwise what to do, and then they listen to them. It could be a teacher or mentor. They listen to them and then they do things. That is even fine, but I enjoyed the other way.
Okay, okay, great. Like Salman, thank you so much for joining. Such a pleasure. I will talk to you.